if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till
What's going on, everyone? Limitless Knowledge here. Thanks for watching the video. Uh, Today, we'll be doing a quick video about an interesting topic, which is OpenAI ChatGPT. Um, so, artificial intelligence has been a good topic the past, I'll say a year or 2 years. Um, People are still talking about it like crazy, and it's the future. ChatGPT is a good example of how far this has gone and is going. It's gonna keep continuing to grow and improve and get better. It's crazy. So the video will focus on creating using ChatGPT to do a specific task or to do something um, that shows its capability. In this case, I'll ask ChatGPT to help me create HTML or application interface that allows users to interact with ChatGPT. So I will need ChatGPT to help me integrate ChatGPT API into my application for users to be able to interact with it. So let's get started. Let me just do a quick intro of OpenAI and ChatGPT for those that are new and want to try it and want to test it. Uh, let's go and start. So OpenAI.com. This is where you can get ChatGPT or start trying it for say. Again, ChatGPT is open to anybody to use it. Basically, once you click here on where it says try ChatGPT, it takes you to where it basically says chat. It looks like a chat, and you will be interacting with AI, basically artificial intelligence. So in this case, you have the chat here where you can enter your input and you'll get your response. So let's start give you an idea what ChatGPT is. Let's talk to the AI and see what responses we get. Okay, so let's ask it to give us some YouTube video ideas. So here I asked it to give us some YouTube video ideas, and he's doing that. Okay. You can continue asking related to the topic you're talking about, or you can change the topic. But let's, in this case, okay. So you get the idea on certain things you can ask. Now let's stop that and create a new chat. Now let's say I want it. I want to create a book. I never created a book, and I'm trying to learn, and I'm trying to get help creating the most of the book. Obviously, look over and decide which one's where I wanted to go. So okay, it's telling me what I need to do to decide how to start. Okay, so the next thing I want to ask it is to give me suggestions for titles. Okay, if you notice here, I initially asked the question about creating a book for kids. It kind of remembers that, and it goes based on the question that I asked. I wasn't specific. Oh, I didn't say again. Create me a titles for book for kids about dogs. It kind of knew that already from the previous discussion, and it decided to create the titles based on that discussion, as you can see. So it's basically creating the titles for that I initially asked about. So you see, create me titles about for possible books for kids about dogs. As you notice. Now let's say I like title 1. Now I want to ask it to create chapters for book number 3. Okay, so he knows book 3, which is the guide to the dog. Okay, so it's creating the chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. So it created 8 chapters for um, book 3, which is a guide to dog breeds. Book 3 is this one, a guide to dog breeds. Okay, so let's say chapter 1. I have my chapters which I provided. If I wanted to change any of the chapters, I can just simply say, can you change chapter 2, or redo chapter 2, or change the title of chapter 2. I can do things like that. And let's say now I like chapter 3. Well, I like our chapter, obviously, it's my book. Now let's just start with chapter 1. Sorry. So let's say create chapter 1. You can be more specific on your what you're asking it to do. Okay, here's chapter 1, the introduction. What makes a dog special? Section 2, section 3, section 4, and it's giving you all the sections for chapter 1. And then a conclusion. Now you can ask it to make those sections, extend those sections a bit more. But at the same time, I'm not gonna ask it to make the sections on that chapter longer or whatever. Just to give you an idea what you can ask it to do, how it can help you, and how it can keep adding to what you are doing, and improving. It keeps learning, it keeps remembering whatever you asked before. Okay, now let me give you a good example. Let's say you wanted ChatGPT for doing a certain task. Okay, so let's say you have a large amount of data that you have to parse through tools and macros and stuff. Okay, and you want ChatGPT to actually look at this data and identify certain things on the data, or certain requirements or things that you want the data to find in the data. So let's say I have let's provide a small amount of data, obviously, because we don't want to provide so much data right now. But you can simply paste it here, or if you have an application with ChatGPT integrated, then you get the idea. You can create something that would do that. So red car, have a red car, have a yellow truck, a white house, a blue plane, orange bike. Okay, now I'm providing that data, but I'm also going to ask a question about the data. So if you notice, I asked the question twice. So yellow refers to the color of the truck in the given list of items. Red refers to the, when I say, can you tell me what is red? Red refers to the color of the car in the given list. So the car is red, and on this question, the truck is yellow. If you can see from my list. So imagine the list was huge, it would do it in seconds, really fast. Um, Now, that's just a simple example of how you can use it to look through information, and it learns from that data that you are providing. And at the same time, you can use it to parse through that data and look through that data and find certain things on that data. Okay, so next step. So let's say now I want to create. Let's get more into what the video is about for today. I want to be able to create an application. Let's say I'm new. I'm new to this. You're new, and you want to try it. I want to create a web uh, based application that integrates ChatGPT for the user to interact and get responses. So something similar to this, just like what you have here, but we're gonna do it on our own application, our own web app, or whatever it is, or our own tool. So first things first. Let me go back to ChatGPT. Once you create an account with OpenAI, you will have your account here. If you view API keys, this is where you can create your secret key to use whenever you are creating using ChatGPT on any of your applications or tools, whatever. This is a secret key you will use to actually access OpenAI libraries, whatever it is, or the code, client side code. Okay. Uh, Initially, it's free. They'll give you a credit of $5 that you can use. As you can see, tokens are very inexpensive, and you can use them multiple times with those $5 until you eventually get something to to actually integrate on a tool or use it somehow. I guess will be for companies who are using the tool to create things. Again, the API, for those of you that are new to this stuff, the API key is only when you are trying to use ChatGPT to integrate it in some sort of tool or web application or something like that. If you want to use it, if you want to create something with it. Um, Now, the chat itself on the website, this is free for you to, interact and get output information from the ChatGPT AI. This anybody can use and get info. If you want to create me an essay, create me an essay. If you want to create me an interview, introduction or whatever, you can come here and do it. It can give you a lot of responses or whatever you want. Again, this is free. Now let's get back to what I was about to do. So new chat, and remember, I want to create. So let's say I need help. Creating a JS code for a program that allows the user to enter text and get responses from ChatGPT. Okay, must have the ChatGPT API. Okay, so let's say, since we are new to all this, let's say we want it to make the code simple. And I also want to know how to test it. Okay, let's start from there. Let's see what it does. Okay, keep in mind, you're new to coding, you haven't created code, you are new to ChatGPT, introducing ChatGPT API into your application, and you've never done this, what could be better than starting here? Actually, it's basically creating the code for you to enter, um, creating the code for you on how to uh, integrate your ChatGPT into your application that you're working on. Okay, so here, if you notice, it created the JS script that I need to bring ChatGPT into my application, and he also created me a simple, very simple HTML file or code that I can use just to test it. Okay, so basically, that gives you an idea of what it does. Again, simple code, and let me go over the code real quick. So your API key is the key that I show you. You get from the profile on the OpenAI key. You just go to personal, view API keys, create a new secret key. Okay. Okay. So basically now, when you would do this, if you know how to code, then you obviously copy it and paste it into your Visual Studio or whatever tool you're using to process this and run it. Uh, Again, if you're new, the next step will be, see, here's telling you how to run it or to test it. Let's say you don't know what to do. What tool can I use to test it? Basically, here's going to tell you what tools you can. Okay, you obviously need a development environment tool. Okay, so here I asked it to give me some tools to test it. Okay, you can use Google Chrome, CodePen. Let me ask a specific tool that I know already. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, you can use Visual Studio to test it. Okay, open Visual Studio, create a project. It's even telling me step by step what I need to do with those two scripts that I created. Okay, basically open it, copy it, and it gave me the script again. Okay, he said the HTML file, you create an HTML data index, index.html, and then copy that and then paste it. Okay, so you get the idea. It can help you create what you're trying to create, being a book, script for a code. Uh, you know, in this case, we're creating a script in the HTML code, which it did. If you notice here, okay. So all I had to do is copy and paste that as a starting point. Now, keep in mind, I can ask it. It remembers the code that it just gave me. So let's say I want to make the HTML better. So say sure. So it's making the HTML code better. Maybe you put in more color on it or borders and improving it. Right, making it better. If I wanted to continue making it better, it will continue making it better. If I want to add certain things in specific, let's say I want to change the title, give me a new catchy title for. Let's. Okay, okay, you get the idea. You can keep improving your code and adding to your code, adding functions and adding things to your code. Now, since I already did this and I went through an extensive discussion with ChatGPT on the code I wanted to create, if you notice here, right? notice how much I discussed with ChatGPT. I'm still going, and it gave me the code multiple times. Improved it, it changed it, it made it smaller, added things to it, removed things from it, and get the point, right? Pretty much continues helping you. There's no limit. Now, once I had that code, and it suggested me to use Visual Studio, and come to Visual Studio, it told me the steps, which was create a folder, create an index.html file, paste the HTML code, and then create a script.js file, and paste the JS script, which I did. Then the next step, it told me what to do was, you have to right click index and run it on the browser, which I did. If you notice, let's just try that. Notice here's the initial. Again, the code can improve. This is a simple, quick test code that he gave me, because that's what I told it to do. If I wanted a more extensive code, I could say, can you give me an extensive code with a more intricate, more precise, better looking user interface, and blah blah blah. It would have done that, right? So let's say 1 plus 1 equals 2. So you see here, ChatGPT example. I, I told ChatGPT I needed help creating code for my web application, because I want ChatGPT in my web application. So I needed ChatGPT to help me create the code that grabbed the API, integrated it into my application. It gave me the code and we did it, right? Here it is, ChatGPT example. We tested it and it's running. So if we go back now, let's continue asking it to do more on the code, so you get an idea how crazy this is. Now let's say the initial code. Let's grab the initial code that it gave us. There's a copy button here that is easier. Copy. Okay, I copy the initial code that it gave me. Now I'm gonna paste it here and say, can you improve this code more? And paste the code. Here's an updated version of the code with some improvements. You see this? It's adding improvements to the code. And it's going as far as adding comments, so you can understand what it's doing. You see the once in grade? Get the response from ChatGPT API. Add the response to the chat output. Scroll bottom, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, things that I did on the code, so you understand. This API key, obviously the ChatGPT doesn't give it to you, because it's something you get from the website, which is the secret key that you get to access OpenAI, right? Libraries and stuff. So it's an API key. If you notice on the code that ChatGPT gives us, it says your API key here, and this is basically a comment, right? Telling you to paste your key here. And after you copy the whole thing and paste it to your compiler or your Visual Studio, you're gonna go to OpenAI and grab your secret key and then paste it here, just like I did, right? In this case, I will have to get rid of this API key right after I finish this video, because you shouldn't share this with anybody. You shouldn't share your secret keys with anybody. Obviously, it's related to your account, and you may have money on it, and people may use it, right? So I'll delete it right away after I finish this video. Again, you get the idea how far you can take this tool, or OpenAI ChatGPT. We created the scripts and the HTML code, from scratch in just a few minutes. Literally, I mean, what was it, like 2 minutes? I asked it the question at the beginning. If you notice, I said, sure, need help creating the JS code for the program that allows the user to enter the text in it and then respond from the ChatGPT. Must have the ChatGPT API. So he did that. He needs the ChatGPT API key, and then and a few more things. Again, remember I did this before on my own testing. If we go back to my code, I can explain it a little bit better for what I understand so far. Again, I'm not an expert on ChatGPT, you know, integrating the ChatGPT API into it. I just use ChatGPT to learn, to try and start learning it, and it explains it to you as it creates it, and it doesn't just have to create it. You don't have to say it to create it for you. You can also just say, "Can you explain these functions for me? How can I do this?" And it will explain it to you, and then you can eventually create it yourself. But if you want to create the initial code, you can do that. So it will do it for you. So here you see that I put my key, like I said. Now it opens the model Text Vinci is basically ChatGPT. Text Vinci 003 is uh, ChatGPT latest model, which is pulling from the OpenAI. Here is doing a post, posting the response. So these are different functions that it has, and then getting the completion. Okay. And another thing that I want to show, whenever you're testing it, if you do run something similar, simple tests, you can always go back to OpenAI and go to usage to see if it is actually pulling tokens. Every time you type something, every time you type, let's say, hello, it's gonna put, hello has what, 3 4 hello has 5 letters. It would tell you this is the prompt and this is the completion with the amount of letters or word, whatever, that it responded with. And if you see this, every time you write to it, or do a prompt with the API key, and it works, then you should get a prompt plus the completion, and then how many tokens are used. And your tokens are whatever amount of based on the money you have, what is using, or whatever. Related tokens are related to the money, basically. Okay. And okay, depending on how many tokens, depends how much money you're using and all that. But the tokens are basically the amount of, I would say, letters. Is it? I think it is the number of letters. You see, 5 letters to ask the question, and 3 letters to respond. So 8 tokens were used, and then 14 were used to ask the question, and 3 for the completion. Uh, 17 tokens. Okay, you get the idea. And you will learn as you interact with ChatGPT, or you research it on the documentation, or samples, whatever. Uh, that's the whole idea. Again, guys. Again, this I'm still so impressed by this, and I'm still learning. And I mean, I couldn't believe I just came into something that looks like a chat, and I said, "Oh, can you create me this code, JS file, script, and then create me the HTML file?" And I wanted to actually interact, be a page where the user interacts with ChatGPT and enters a comment and response. I mean, let's look back at what I initially typed. Look at this. This is all I typed. I could have been more detailed and write it better, but since I'm just doing a quick video, it's difficult to be typing and thinking about what I'm gonna say on the video. But you notice all I wrote and what it gave me back. It gave me like a full script. A full script. Look at this. A full script. Right? A working script. And the HTML code as well, which I then pasted. Obviously, you can add more things to this. For example, the HTML. I can just say, let me give you an example again. Can you make the HTML code better to give the user okay. So it's gonna make the code better because I asked it to, and I told it why. I mean, what I want the user. I want the user to have a better experience. So it's adding more stuff on that HTML code to make it even better, right? So for those of you that are not very knowledgeable of coding or programming or whatever, so basically, if I asked you to change that HTML code, it will basically mean that when I paste that new code on Visual Studio on here, right, and I run it again, my code will look different. This is an example when I was testing it. Here, I asked it to change the code and give me a selection for the models, for different models. So model one, and then model the other models, right? And then be able to type the user to type. If I wanted to add, I don't know, color buttons, or if I wanted to change this title, like HTML can be changed in so many ways, and you can be more specific on what you wanted to do. But this is again just an example, guys. That's just why I just asked it a simple question. He just simply created a box. But if I get more detail on what I want, it will help me create that code as to what I'm asking him to do, and he'll continue improving what what we have already completed. Right? If this is what we have from the initial discussion that we had, then and I asked it to continue changing and changing and changing, it's going to continue changing the code to improve this interface. So you get the idea. ChatGPT can be used in so many ways, not just as the user interface in it, but also as a person that's trying to create an application with it. The number of things that it can be used for is crazy. So again, guys, thank you. Please subscribe. I suggest you learn this, get into it. You can do so many things with it, make money. Uh, you can create new tools. You can learn if you want to learn something new. You can just get in there and ask it to teach you something new. Just tell it what. Thank you. Please subscribe.